All right, hello everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. End of the week. End of what I will tell you, in my opinion, was a most confusing day. So I want to hear what you guys have to think. I thought the price action all day today on the Bitcoin miners was very confusing. And then we got to talk about where Bitcoin is going, because it got to some places today that were no good. George will be here. He sent me a text. He's going to be a few minutes late, so he will join us in a few minutes. So we'll wait for him. Hello, hello, hello. Edmund, FV702, Sourmelon Gaming. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. All right, FV702's been a member for 1 month. Said, hello, let's go Cleanspark. Bitcoin to the moon. Yes, Bitcoin to the moon, but where's it going first? Because I definitely want to have that conversation today. I'm still loaded up on Cleanspark FV702, so that has not changed for me. I did not buy anything yesterday. So everything was way down, and I did not buy anything. And now today's price action was very strange, and I'm considering doing stuff, but I want to go through all these financial statements over the weekend. And then, unfortunately, we have to wait until Monday to get Bitfarms financial statements, so I'm going to have to plug that in after the fact. But I really want to... The first quarter is over as far as financial reporting goes. The first third of the year is over as far as, the calendar goes. And I want to reassess, because we've gotten a boatload of information on Bitcoin and on the Bitcoin miners, and some stuff has changed. There's just no doubt about it. So I think the picture's starting to clear up a little bit, although obviously we're a long way from, hopefully we're a long way from where we're going, and, it's still just as hard to figure out what's next. I don't want to tell you where I think we're going next until we do our normal poll. I know somebody today put in the comments section, let's just get to 25,000 so we never have to do that stupid poll again as to whether or not we're going to 35 or 25. But we didn't get there, so we're going to have to do it one more time. Gorilla said Bitcoin's going to go below 25 this weekend. JJT, hello. How are you? And I got to pay attention for when George pops in. He is on the way, but he said he was going to be late. So I know he's traveling around when he's in Georgia, and that always makes it hard. All right. So anyway, if you would be so kind as to smash the like button, I would appreciate it. It helps the live stream a lot. We didn't get to 100. I think twice in a row now on the live stream. We're at 11 likes right now, so we could take all the help we could get. We're battling YouTube, so plus it's free. Plus, if you have not subscribed, you can also subscribe to the channel, because that is free also, if you enjoy this content. Hello, Martin, Sourmelon Gaming, Ricky, Miguel. Welcome to everybody. Yeah, I'm still processing the day today, so I definitely want to talk about it and hear from you guys. I just think the Bitcoin... I never saw a day... This was a strange day. I shouldn't say never, but this was highly unusual. So if I look... I'm on PayPal, because I will tell you I'm very interested in PayPal right now. We talked about this on the last live stream, and I dug into it a bunch more. Anyway, you can see the market was red. It did rally into the close. So we had Usually we have the gigantic sell-off into the close on a Friday. Today we rallied into the close, but we still finished red across the board. So the equities were red across the board. Bitcoin is down at levels it hasn't been in months. It broke through, in my opinion, some key levels of support and has started to hit some spots that are not good. And with all of that, if you look at the Bitcoin miner big board, HUT was way up. CleanSpark was up, Marathon was up, Cypher was up big, Iris Energy was up big. So it was a strange mixed bag. I can't explain it. Sorry, excuse me. There was green on this board all day today, so that's what mystifies me. CleanSpark, it was not green 100% of the day, but it was up and down. It was green most of the day. There was... And nothing was in a big sell-off when for the first time in months, we truly broke to the downside today. So, like, I know this looks good. The last, 45 minutes or an hour have been a little bit better, but that just really gets us back to where we were after all of this breakdown. So this is where we closed. This is where Bitcoin was when the equity markets closed yesterday. As you guys know, that's always I call it orange, gold, whatever you want. So from there, I mean, we got, at one point, we were down almost 4% on the day. We closed the gap like everything else, like the equities. Bitcoin rallied into the close, but so, we're only down about 1.5% into the close, but that is down, and it's down to a place it has not been in a long, long time. That was the thing that surprises me. Kind of yesterday, and I'll show you, we broke out of a pretty solid line of support. We broke below, and, then it's been downward since there, but for some reason, nobody cares on these equities. I don't know if people are digesting these financial statements, and, they're picking some winners and losers based on that, because we did get so many financial statements this week. I've been overwhelmed listening to, I still have not listened to Marathon's earning call. So I have that left. That's I think the last piece of my puzzle. And then of course Bitfarms on Monday. So it's been a lot of information, and the financial statements were just full of information. So I really feel like we're getting some relevant, there's some companies, until this quarter, really, any reporting on Cypher, any reporting on TeraWolf in the past, I'm talking financial quarterly reports, they were just of no meaning. They really weren't conducting business. But this last quarter was pretty much business as usual for them. So we got a really good look at a lot of these guys. And there was some good stuff. It's not a coincidence. The things that are green today, in my opinion, are not a coincidence. But I am surprised they're green on this day where the equities were not doing well, Bitcoin was not doing well, and we kind of broke below a level of support that, to me, was disturbing. So I don't know. I guess other people were not as disturbed, because really, none of these stocks had an awful day. Right, GREE was down 4.5%. Argo Blockchain, I guess, was down 8%. I'll be honest, you guys, I've said several times, GREE and Argo to me are, I've kind of not that I'm saying they're going out of business. They just, to me, in some order, they're second last and last. Sorry, I hope they prove me wrong. So they were a little bit. Stronghold was down 5.5%. DigiHost was down 6%. But these are not big moves. I mean, we've seen big moves, right? Yesterday was 5 times worse than this. Yesterday there was big moves to the downside. So, and that might be a part of it. Everything got hit so hard that, today was just a catch-up day a little bit. I don't know. I mean, Bitfarms is under $1 again. Fortunately, that does not matter now, because they have already received their letter from the NASDAQ that they are in compliance, so they can go down to 98 cents, 96 cents. At some point, I'm going to start buying more Bitfarms. I haven't yet, because it's already, I have a big position in that. But at some point, if this keeps sinking, I will buy more Bitfarms. There's a lot of these that are very interesting levels. So I'll tell you guys even before we do the poll, and then I'll post the poll. I do think, at this point, I think we're going to test 25,000 at some point. Maybe lower than that, but 25 is what, has been, that's a very strong line. And I would almost be discouraged if we don't go test it right now, because if we don't do it right now, say over this weekend or early next week, then I think we're just going to run up and run right back down to it. At some point, it now seems to me that just from a technical analysis, it seems to me just very, very highly likely that we're going to test 25,000. That's my personal opinion, but I'm going to post the poll to see if you guys agree or disagree, because obviously everybody has their own opinion. We've been very bullish. There was one time it got close, but 35,000 has won this poll, for the last month and a half. But don't let that influence your opinion. Vote whatever you actually think. Where are we going next? Are we going to, so let me post this. What's next for Bitcoin? 35,000 or 25,000? So we're at 26,300 right now. We got down to, so the low today was, according to this chart, 25,810. So are we going to finish the job here and get down to 25,000, or is that it? Because you can see this, there was some, let's look at, I'm going to add the volume in. So, there was some, this is only the 15 minutes, so it's hard to get a lot from this, but the move was so quick you got to look at it on the 15 minute. But there was some decent volume. We went, we kind of bottomed and then shot right back up. So, I don't know, some people might feel like that was it. The reason I don't feel like that was it is because, like, where does this line up with anything? It's like, it's nowhere. There's nothing. This is no line. So that could happen. So on the 1 day, this was kind of my feeling, and this happened yesterday. This green line, it's basically an ascending line of support. It starts on March 27th. So, not 2 months ago, but more than a month and a half ago. And you can see we tested this late in April. It seemed like on this day we candlewick below it and finished way above, so that seemed encouraging. And then yesterday we went below this, and now we're opening and closing below this. So to me, we've taken the move down. We've hit a lower low, right? Because today's candle is lower than any of these candles. You got to go all the way back to this giant green candle on March 17th. So as a result, this line at 17,000 actually has held on the daily candle. This has basically held for the last couple of months after this green candle up. And that broke, today today's high is 27,099. So we did pop above that, but we're mostly below that all day today unless something drastic happens in the next very short period of time. We're going to open and close basically below that. This is a new low. That's why I'm looking at this line, my 25,200, and everybody's got a line at a different place. I have a specific reason for that. I think this is as far as I really need to zoom out. So you'll see, like, August of 2022. So this goes back a ways. We had a very nice bull run in August of 2022. So this was, up until this last run where we just pulled a double. You know, this was the last good run we had. It was 43% to the upside. And you can see that topped out right at 25,200. So since then, we have not gotten past this. In February, which was a couple of months ago, we tested this line again and failed. You can see candle wick, candle wick, candle wick. And then we had to go all the way back to, you know, under 20,000 here and catch support here. So these are two big points of, so this was very strong resistance, and lines of resistance, you know, by their nature, once you cross them, are also lines of support on the other side. So I just feel like, we're going back here. And I have felt like we weren't going to need to. It seemed for all this time, as 17,000 held for, you know, 6 weeks, 17,000 was just holding strong. So I thought, or sorry, I'm saying 17,000, 27,000. So 27,000 was holding very strong. And, you know, but now it's broken. I mean, we had a clear break to the downside, and we clearly broke out of this trend. A lot of people are going to call this a head and shoulders. I don't know. You could see a head and shoulders in everything, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, this is a head and shoulders, and we broke out to the downside. So some people are going to start to have price targets that are much lower, 24, 23, 22,000, 21,000, but I'm not viewing it that way. I think we got a super strong line of support here, and until that support doesn't hold, to me, that's the next stop on our journey. Sourmelon Gaming said, Tom, I think the low we saw around 25.8K today was the bottom of this dip. I think the whole pullback was the dip before the upcoming rip over 31,000. I hope that you are correct. I would feel more comfortable bouncing off of a line of support than just missing it and having it linger out there. Hello, Alex. Hi, group. Tom, I agree with your last video where you gave your needs to be miners, with the exception of Bitcoin at the halving. 45 to 50K, I think, is okay. So I called for a higher number than that. If you watch the video, I thought we really need to get back to our all-time highs at the halving. But Alex, and I think a lot of people are with Alex, that if we're in this, you know, somewhere in the $45,000 to $50,000 range, it'll be okay. And maybe that next move is maybe 6 months after the halving or something like that. So definitely, I understand that. I think we will be back there, but more people probably disagree with me. We'll do that poll next. Miners under 6 exahash will be micro caps. Miners with debt are going to have problems. So yeah, that was, in that video, I was kind of all over the place, but I just felt like I had just ingested so much information, reading all of these financial statements, listening to all of these conference calls. You know, it's just became a lot of things, just because I was able to do that in a short period of time. A lot of things jumped out as, you know, this is what's next, in my opinion. So I'm hopefully that is helpful to some people. It sounds like Alex agrees with some, disagrees with some, but, you know, those were my thoughts. Then Alex is saying, you can't keep hitting support repeatedly and not break through at 27. And I know a couple of people have been calling that lately. You know, there's only so many times support can hold until it breaks. So we got there. It broke. Edmund is saying, Iris Energy and Wolf will get tons of upgrades. So, yeah, I think earlier Edmund said, I think you mentioned that those two were your strongest conviction plays. Hello, Raven. Hello to everybody. If I missed anybody, hello, Nash V, His Honor. So far I'm flying solo because George is late, so I'm multitasking. If everybody could please smash the like button. We got 28 likes right now. We got 72 people on, so it's free to smash the like button. It helps out the live stream a lot, and I appreciate it. This week we were all over the place, so I'm hoping to get some people to talk about it with us and get into our polls and all that kind of stuff. So smash the like button if you would. Thank you very much. I'm going to check in on the poll. Okay, so we got a little bit different results going on right now. I'm going to let this go for a few more minutes, and then I know the next poll for sure. But let's keep this one going for a little while. We got 41 votes. So if you haven't voted, also obviously voting is for free. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please help subscribe to the channel. And I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's in the investment space. I don't know if it's in YouTube, but I will tell you, like, new subscribers are like hard to find right now, and I don't know if investors are getting discouraged. I'm just not sure, but I do hear a lot of other YouTubers saying the same thing. This is not the time to get discouraged, in my opinion, but I understand it's been a long road. Nashville BRC20 bit fees explosion will be an interesting data point in the May operating productivity updates for the miners. Yeah, May is going to look different because of that. There's no doubt. And there was a few days in there where it just exploded. But I do think the fees that the Bitcoin miners are going to collect going forward, although they went ballistic, right? There were some blocks where the fee was more than solving the block. So we're getting 6.25 Bitcoin for solving a block at this point. There were 6s, 7s. I think there was one block where they got 8 or just under 8. So there was at least 5 blocks that I saw where the fees were bigger than the reward. So I'm not expecting anything like that. Remember, before this, for months and months, really the last year or two, the fees have been 1 or 2 or 3%. So I think this, now all of a sudden they're 70%, 80%, 100%. So I don't think that's the new normal by any stretch of the imagination. But after listening to what everybody else has to say and just looking at what's happening, I don't think we're ever going back to the days of, 1, 2, 3% fees on Bitcoin. So that to me, that's a big boost for the Bitcoin miners. I would not be surprised if, it settles between 15 to 25%, and then there's times, where a new token comes out, a new meme coin, whatever the case may be, where we get these spikes, where it spikes up to 50 or, even as much as it was over 100%. So, but even if it was to average like 18%, the difference between that and 3% is massive. It's also going to help after the halving if these fees stay at a certain level, right? Because the reward gets cut in half, but the fees don't. So I do think that will help subsidize, and it's going to return to something more normal. But I don't think we're ever going back to 1, 2, 3% fees for Bitcoin. I think if you want that, for those people that use Bitcoin to, buy a cup of coffee, all that kind of stuff, you just use the Lightning Network. But there's several things you can't do on the Lightning Network that are happening right now on the Bitcoin network. There's more and more use cases for it. There's more and more adoption of the network itself. So the fees by nature are going up. Although, and I'll go to the list right now. So you can see 6.25 is the reward. So this last block was 7.25. So that was 1 extra Bitcoin. This was about 1.5. So here was closer to 2. This was over 2. This was 2.5 Bitcoin was the fee in addition to the reward. So you can see we're between 1 and 2.5. So, that's a significantly higher than the 0.1, 0.2 that was happening for so long. I did see a couple of blocks yesterday get solved in 10 seconds. It's, it's random. It does even out over time, and it, you know, there's an adjustment every 2 weeks. If it's on the average over or under 10%, it gets, or sorry, 10 minutes, it gets adjusted up or down. But each individual block is just a pure matter. It's random. You know, you can solve a block in 10 seconds. There was one time where it was like over an hour or a couple of hours or something. It was crazy. So you can see these. So these are important, and I do think so. Whereas in April, I think 8 out of the top 10 Bitcoin miners by production were down in April versus March, because the difficulty level was up. Not a lot of hash rate was added in the top 10. The hash, although the global network got bigger, so the difficulty level went up. So this month, I think, is going to be the opposite. 8 out of 10 did not hit a new high in April. I think the majority of these companies are going to have record numbers in May. We had a little bit of a decrease in the difficulty level. We're on track, I think, for potentially another very small decrease, but almost immaterial. It more has to do with these fees. And again, there was almost a week in there where there was 4, 5, 6 coin rewards, like block after block after block. So, you know, that's a dramatic change. Yes. Sorry, I got technical support. We're currently doing I don't know what right now. All is well. Remain calm. All right. I think that was it. Okay. I guess it was too bright in here. I don't know. All right. So we're back. And by we, I mean me, because George is still not here. Should I text George? Ask him what's going on? I'm doing it. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to text him. See where he's at. Like to get his 2 cents in on a Friday afternoon before we all go to our weekend. All right, let's see. Raven saying, don't fall for the memes, a.k.a. Mullen. So, yeah, Mullen I am staying away from. That thing's had been a train wreck, as have a lot of the EV sector. The electric vehicle and electric vehicle related has just been, it's been ugly. And it just keeps getting worse. Andy Scott is asking, Tom, Bitfarms, what's going on? What are we missing? I don't think we're missing it, Andy. I know it's unbelievably frustrating. And I did have a lot of May options, call options that are going to finish worthless. So, but you know, you win some, you lose some. You just got to win more than you lose. So I'm frustrated that with all this sideways nonsense in Bitfarms, back under $1. Like I said, if it gets a little lower, if we have the next leg down in Bitcoin, I will be adding to my Bitfarms position. I didn't because I spent all of 2022 Bitfarms. So, you know, now I'm waiting for a real bargain before I do any more. But I think it is coming. I have not lost my conviction in Bitfarms. I have increased my conviction in some other companies. There's some companies that, you know, said they were going to do certain things, but you know, they had not started to perform yet, and now they're starting to perform and they're doing what they said they were going to do. So I have more companies now that I have a high level of conviction in than I did before. Some have dwindled, so, you know, it goes in both directions. I put out my top 8 on January 1st of 2023. After I get Bitfarms results on Monday, I'm going to update that list and show you what my top 8 was on January 1st and what changes I would make to it now. Because I would shift some, and it's not drastic, but there are some shifts that would occur for me on that list. Sourmelon Gaming said, text George. We need the captain to tell us where the ship is headed. George said he's close. I did text him, and he said he was close. So hopefully that means he'll be joining us shortly. Tom, do you have concerns about the Bitcoin mining energy bill Biden proposed? So right now I'm going to say I have very little concern about that. I can't dismiss it, right? It's out there. It's been talked about numerous times. I think it will be discussed many times going forward. Each time it hits the front page, it's creating some fear and uncertainty. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, he's talking about a scaling 3-year implementation to get up, 10, 20, 30% tax on energy that Bitcoin miners will have to pay. So I do not believe that's going to happen. But I can't, I don't know that. I can't rule it out. I don't know. Maybe some smaller version of that is going to happen. How about companies that make their own energy? Do they, they don't, so they're not selling, they're not buying any energy. They make their own. Do they pay taxes on it? Like, there's nuances to this. Plus which, it seems like, it's a great talking point, but it's kind of a ridiculous idea in my personal opinion. And I just don't think it's going to happen. But we got to keep our eye on it. And every time it gets talked about, it does not help the price of Bitcoin. And you never know, right? We never know until these guys get the rules down. We don't know what's going to happen. So, I'm looking forward to a lot of these things resolving themselves that we've now been waiting and waiting and waiting. A Bitcoin ETF, ultimately at some point that decision will come down. It boggles my mind how long they've avoided that, but they're not going to avoid it forever. There's going to be regulations. We're going to get to the bottom of, what authority does the SEC have? That matter is getting pushed as it should be, right? The SEC can't just sit out there and sanction people and sue people and do things when there's no rules. So, the rules need to be agreed upon, and, those people that are not in compliance need to get in compliance, or they need to go away. And some of each of that is going to happen. There's going to be plenty of people that go, you know what, I'm out. I'm a Bitcoin mining, or not Bitcoin mining, a crypto exchange, and, the U.S. has finally decided on their regulations, and they're too much for me, so I'll just deal with the rest of the world. We already have several companies that do that right now, so more might do that. Coinbase has threatened to do that. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's realistic. I think they will maintain a presence in the United States, in my opinion, but, it's fair for them to put the talking point out there is, hey, if you guys are just going to come after us, but you're not going to quantify anything, you're not going to say, here, point to the rule we're breaking, because they haven't made the rules yet. So that's coming. So those, all those regulations are coming, and that might feel like a bad thing, but I've said all along, to me, the regulations, whatever they are, and I don't think they're going to be unreasonable, right? At the worst case scenario, these things are going to be treated like stocks are treated by the SEC. Like, that would be the most drastic measure in my mind. But at least it would be defined. Everybody would know what's what. And, all the big cryptocurrencies, all the major crypto exchanges, they'll get, if they know how to comply, they'll just do it. A lot of the small ones might not be able to do it. It might be cost prohibitive to comply with, whatever the ultimate rules end up being. So, maybe some of the altcoins, the meme coins, maybe those might take a hit. But I don't, I'm looking at Bitcoin, and obviously the Bitcoin miners are what we talk about mostly on this channel. And I don't think there's regulations, not to mention, it's already been decided for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a commodity. No one's even discussing that anymore at this point. So that is a given. Now, could they do things like put a tax on the Bitcoin miners? They could do that. They're talking about doing that. They've proposed that tax, but I don't think that's happening. Not anytime soon, and I don't think ever. Let's see. Somebody's saying MicroStrategy got beat up today. So they were down 5.7%. Yeah, that's a little worse than the rest of the group did. And they usually are not as much leveraged off of what Bitcoin does. So that was a little bit of a rough day, but you know, they're still at 271. So they're still in a good spot. Organic Auto said, I don't know, too many people are talking about 25.2, head and shoulders, M pattern, triple top, etc. I myself was looking for 25.2 being in the cards. However, knowing Bitcoin, the opposite usually happens. I mean, you're right. That's the impossible part of the short-term, you know, trading on Bitcoin is now all of a sudden, right? And I'm going to end this poll because this is in a good spot. The last time we did this, it was like 80-something% thought we were going to 35,000 next. Now today, 55% think we're going to 25,000 next. So that's a big reversal. And you're right. Everybody out there is, you know, all the things you just said, all those technical patterns that are setting low price points. And I've seen a lot of people whose price target is a lot lower than 25.2. I don't see how you can at least. Oh, we have a visitor. Houston.
Finally.
All right. Welcome, George. Welcome to the live stream.
Hey, guys.
I'm wrapping the poll up. What's Bitcoin going to do next? 35,000 or 25,000? It's pretty close, actually, but 25,000 is winning.
Really?
25,000 has now got 54%. 35,000, 46%. We have 65 votes, so we have a lot of votes. Everybody, please smash the like button if you could. We're at 49 likes. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. It helps the channel. It's free. So we'll end this in a minute because I know what poll I want to do next, and it looks like 25K is going to be so we're slightly bearish now for the first time in a long time. So, and we have the weekend. That's another thing because to me, you know, one of the things I thought about all day today was, you know, this has the weekend to correct itself, and maybe that's why these Bitcoin miners aren't, you know, taking big moves to the downside. Do people think this is going to work itself out over the weekend and then, you know, be back on the upswing by Monday? I don't know. That's an awful lot of assumptions.
What are you assuming?
We do not assume.
Dude, you should do a thing. Who's going to the Bitcoin conference?
Oh, going to the Bitcoin conference? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Good question. I'm going to end this poll. What's going on, George? Thoughts?
Nothing. Just waiting for Bitcoin to go to 25.
Wait for Bitcoin to go to 25.
You know, once you think it's going to a certain level, it never goes there, so...
That's what Organic Autos was just saying, the same thing. You know, now all of a sudden everybody's so convinced it's going to 25 that it feels like now it's not going to go there.
Yeah. I know. That's usually what happens is it gets a certain way and then boom. I'm still trying. There we go. Now I got it to work. I found a way that I can use my phone and then read the chat and then still have this going on.
Very nice. George, the people needed George. George is here. Our viewers
I don't know if
up.
they needed me or not. I think
they needed you, George. We just hit 100 viewers for the first time today.
See what happens when I get on? So
That's
I think
right.
Let's do a real quick poll. Going to the conference next week, yes or no?
Let's see.
That'd be an interesting stream to know. That'd be an interesting poll to do.
I feel like it's going to be almost all no, but I shouldn't assume that. Could be people are all over the world on our stream here, so it's quite a journey for a lot of people.
I'm ready for 30K, but I don't know when they're going to take it out. And I think that it does look like the United States is going to pass our little budget problem.
We're going to solve that little debt ceiling
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
George got a haircut.
I wonder how many people is there going to be any yeses on this?
There might not be. You know, it's tough to drop everything and go to a conference. For most people, it's in a different state or a different country. It's
Tom, we haven't gotten one yes. Wow.
We should have asked, does anybody even care about them? Never mind going.
Yeah.
Well,
because
enthusiasm.
So I'm supposed to volunteer there next week, and I went through all the requirements and all the stuff to go there and actually go to the to be one of the main, like there's like different stages, and I was actually gonna be on the main stage to be the meet and greet of the people that are coming to talk.
Yeah,
which is funny. I ain't even gonna tell you. I know you want to tell the stream this. Oh my goodness, you guys! I'm supposed.
Oh, wait a second. I gotta hit the button then. If you're going down that road, George's.
Oh, we got a yes. Out of 20 people, we got one yes.
All right, we got a yes.
Too many dollars. I found a cheap place to buy them, by the way. It was like TickX. And then I found a industry path for $450. Not saying that's cheap, but it's $450. And then I found the day pass for like $125, $130.
Wow. Is that a real website? Is this a reliable website?
Yeah. They actually recommend it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then that means it sounds like they're struggling to get people to go.
I think they are.
DEFCON said, I would go if it was free. Nash V said, too much money.
Or once I become a Bitcoin millionaire. So, question about somebody was saying this one. Here's a weird take on this. On GBTC, he said that once the discount is gone, then Bitcoin is solid. And I'll actually say who that was. That was Bare Naked Crypto. I watch him. He's a nut.
Well, by the time I think there's always going to be some arbitrage between that until it's converted to an EFT.
Right.
An EFT? This is something. Electronic funds transfer always makes me confused with ETFs.
Right.
Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I think it's incredibly fair to say the smaller that discount gets, the healthier people perceive Bitcoin.
Right.
For sure.
That makes sense.
And it has come down. I mean, it got up to 50%. It was crazy time. I regret not buying it. FV702 said, I need another 20K Bitfarm. Somebody else was saying...
Did Bitfarms go below $1 today, Tom?
98 cents. Closed at 98 cents.
Who would have thunk it?
And Manuel said, hey, Tom, I bought more Bitfarms today. Is it wrong? I like discounts. No, it's not wrong. I did say earlier, I will, if Bitcoin takes another leg down and we're still down on Monday and Bitfarms is down, I'll buy some more. I did not buy any this week. I bought nothing yesterday on that giant down day. I just stayed the course because I really do think we're going to go retest 25, and it's possible we could go lower than that. I have not changed my position. I still think I'm still bullish. I still think this is just a pullback in the middle of a bull cycle that we're now in. Right? Because when we got up to this 25,000, this is the line I think we're going to retest. So when we got up to that a couple of months ago, from the high to the low, I mean, that was almost a 23% pullback. So we just had one of those. Where are we at right now? we're at 17%. This would be 19%. So, you know, who knows? Maybe we go retest 24,000. There's your 23%. So I have my purple line at 25,200. I think that's going to hold. It could candle wick below that. I think on the daily candles will hold at that, in my opinion. But, you know, maybe it's 24,000. I really don't think we're going significantly lower than that. But I guess we'll see over the weekend. I mean, you never know the way the news comes at us.
Well, the weekend is usually just a drift anyways. It just kind of just drifts.
It's true. The weekend's been a lot of either just,
you know, it doesn't really make any movement.
Very sideways. Sometimes it drifts down a little bit, but not a lot of significant moves until, of course, 9 o'clock Monday morning.
Yeah, I don't think next week's going to be a very strong week for Bitcoin. I don't expect it to plummet much, but I don't think it's going to be a very strong week until the end of the week. I think maybe next weekend we can start to see a pump.
So it's going to be key. I'm just saying personally, if it bounces off of 25,000, I will feel a lot better than having had it stop in outer space at 25,800, which is.
So when it does hit 25, do you think it goes parabolic after that, Tom?
No, not necessarily. It could go sideways. I just think that's going to be a strong line of support that we are going to test. And I don't think it's just going to get to 25 and fail that test on the first try. If we're going lower than that, I expect some amount of support. That is a super strong line. So,
dude, you know, it's real interesting to me, and I know we talk a lot about Bitcoin, but I hate to say this, but ETH is looking really good.
The ETH was been a little stronger over the last few days than Bitcoin.
No, it's $17.95.
I know.
Remember, you could have bought that for less than $1,000.
Yeah, it got down to like 880 or something like that.
I just think it's a, you know, I mean, it's still an interesting project. You know, I mean, trust me, the only truth meter out there is Bitcoin, and we all know that. But unfortunately, it's still one of those things that, you know, you got to have other.
I mean, Ethereum is used massively. It has massive adoption, but Bitcoin now is making a move. The Bitcoin network is doing things people never thought it was going to do. And, you know, some of the layer 2 stuff on top of it is allowing new stuff to happen. And, you know, that's resulting in my most important takeaway from that. Obviously, anything that supports Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network, I think is bullish for Bitcoin, and it's bullish for the Bitcoin miners. But specifically, the more transaction fees, I mean, that's literally money that's going to the bottom line for Bitcoin miners. And it's going to be a bunch of money in May.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some good yields for these miners.
There's going to be several miners that break their all-time record for Bitcoin mined in the month of May, in my opinion. Several, maybe at least half of the top 10, maybe more than that.
Do you think we could have a new leader?
And it seems like Marathon has been in first place for, I think, 3 months in a row now, and I don't see anybody passing them this month. So I think, and I'm not counting Core Scientific.
You don't look at Core?
I don't look. I don't count. I mean, I do look at them. I have their info up right now, and they're mining a little bit less every month. Their exahash has been going down. This, I'm sure, is all a part of the bankruptcy process for them. They still mined the most Bitcoin. I think I've got this up somewhere. So in April, they mined 1,126 Bitcoin. But like almost everybody else, that is way down. In March, they mined 1,410 Bitcoin. So they went from 1,410 down to 1,126. Their exahash went down, I think, to 14.8. So, yeah, it is entirely possible. It's actually what you're saying is possible, George. Marathon, if they do it right, they could produce more Bitcoin and have a higher exahash than Core Scientific straight up in the month of May. That's on the table.
That's going to be a big push for them.
I would think so. I've been coming around, and I have moved some of my Riot position into marathon. And I've built on my
Wow.
marathon position because, you know, Riot was off to the races, but I think people are underestimating what Marathon's doing because of their, you know, I'm not saying they're wrong. There's a long track record of them not doing what we think they're going to do. So, you know, I don't blame people for wanting 3 months or 6 months in a row of some, you know, consistent results, but let's see. This could be a big one. I know they started out the month with huge numbers. We'll see. You know, they got to keep it up the whole month, but it could happen. His Honor says, Tom, we're still waiting for your promised video series on options. What should we expect? I know. That
could be on both of us.
Options. I'm writing it down. I know, and it's already on a list. I'm just writing it down on my today's list to remind myself.
Hey, before I miss this, we have another attorney out there, Tom.
What? Where?
Martin's wife became an attorney. 7 long years of college, and she passed the bar. You didn't say what state.
Is this somebody in the chat?
Yeah, in the chat. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up on it for you.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's a big deal. Edmund said, Tom, sell Bitfarms November $1 puts for 26 or 27 cents. Get paid 26 or... Yeah, I saw you didn't... Now, thank you for telling me which month it was, but you mentioned this earlier, Edmund, and I meant to say something. That is a absolutely, in my opinion, a fantastic idea. So, selling bit right now, not only buying... I may just sell the puts, and then if I end up having to buy the... You know, buy them... I'm going to make that note because I really do think that's a great,
to cover them just in case?
idea. On the puts, essentially what you're doing is you got to, if you're going to end up buying, if it goes down past where you bought your put, you're going to end up buying the stock in all likelihood. From my perspective, that's how I would do that. There's other ways to do that, but, you know, let's say I sell a put for Bitfarms. This put he's talking about, November 1st. I sell the $1 put and I get 27 cents. Let's say for some reason Bitfarms is still actually under $1 on November 1st. Well, I still get to keep my 26 or 27 cents. And I can buy Bitfarms, but I'm going to have to buy it for $1. Instead of, you know, if it's at 93 cents, you know, then I made 27 cents, but I had to buy Bitfarms at $1 when it was at 93 cents. So there's a give and take, but you know, Bitfarms would have to tank between now and then. So, you know, nobody can rule anything out, but man, that does feel like a great play, Edmund.
Is there any way to do insurance on that or no?
Well, you can buy, it's hard. I mean, you can buy the next, right? You can sell the dollars and buy the 50 cents. Or you can sell them.
Have a 75.
There's no, 50 from $1 goes down to 50. So, you know, you can buy a little protection. All that does is protect you from, you know, Bitcoin crashing to, you're protected. Right. You're protected essentially down to 74 or 73 cents because you got paid for that already. Right. With the,
you could take that money and then go buy more farms.
Exactly.
Arizona, you got her license in Arizona.
Good.
I didn't even think they practice law in Arizona.
It's a big accomplishment, so.
Ooh, that's a good poll. Alex just came up with an idea for a poll. We probably should end this poll. Oh, we got 2 people going. Out of 50 votes, you got 2 people going.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
So we got a couple people going. I'm going to end that. We got a lot of votes on that. So mostly no, which makes sense. People are all around the world here, obviously, on our stream. So it's not easy to get to Miami from most of the rest of the world. So, and there was not a lot of hype around this conference. So glad to see a couple people going. Now it's 90% to 10%. So, wow, that's actually really high if you think about it.
So that means there's 3 people going out of 50. I'm cold. It's cold up here. It's 77.
Oh, yeah, George went up to the cold.
I'm in Atlanta. ATL, baby.
Happy Friday, Brett.
Wow, we're getting some technical.
Are we getting some technical analysis on the...
No, technical questions here. Let me see this. Can QBT.R on, I don't even know what this means. Do you know what that means?
So far, I don't know what it means either.
It's something to do with the ASIC miners. New landscape, new software, supposedly giving it 2.x mining versus standard software. So I guess it's a way to overclock the machines.
I will have to look into that. So let's find that and let me look into it. I don't know anything about that.
That'd be interesting to know.
Here's what I will say. There's an awful lot of people that make an awful lot of claims about what... Oh, wow. Bitcoin it is rallying. Wow. All right. Okay. Sorry. Just went back to the 15-minute to see we've taken another... We're almost back to where we were yesterday. So...
Nice.
I guess, maybe... See, everybody just needed to see our poll and think we're going down to 25. Now we're going up. Anyway, my point is, a lot of these things come out, and they say they've tested it, but here's my... This is the benchmark I'm using. Until I see anybody with immersion cooling, right? Immersion cooling was going to be the game-changing event. You were going to be able to, a lot of different things, some of which I think are true. I think the machines will stay healthier for a longer period of time, but you were going to be able to overclock them significantly and, more energy efficient. Well, I haven't seen anybody put that to practice yet. The companies that are doing immersion cooling overall as a company, so it's hard to tell machine by machine. We don't get that information. But those companies tend to be among the least efficient companies out of all the Bitcoin mining companies. So, the use case has not proved out yet. And a lot of these things work great in a vacuum, but then when you actually go to apply them at scale, you run into this difficulty, that difficulty, and, it's a process. But I'll find whatever that is. Let's write it down because I don't even know what it is. So,
quantum blockchain technologies on the London Stock Exchange. Before I forget it,
quantum blockchain.
We love CleanSpark, by the way, guys. I forgot somebody asked that question. But what time?
Quantum blockchain technology.
Yep.
So already, not to show my bias, but I will tell you, any company that uses the word quantum in the title is probably I won't say probably. I'll just say for me, that is a gigantic, that might be strike one and strike two. So I'm going into that one, on the brink of, but we'll see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Not a lot of quantum stuff going on out there, folks. There may be lots of quantum stuff going on. Human beings really don't have any grasp on it. And all these companies that use that word, usually that's one of a list of buzzwords I have that means almost with certainty it's a stock I'm not going to invest in.
Let me tell you the truth, and let me be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Everything else I've said was a lie. I'm going to be honest to you, Tom.
That's right. That's right. So now you're going to be honest?
Now you're going to be honest? Hey, shoot the moon. Isn't Bitfarms about to go cash positive?
I mean, Bitfarms is cash flow positive. They're not profitable yet. And I talked about this in a video the other day. And, we'll find out. We'll see exactly. Their financials are coming out on Monday. But I expect them to be cash flow positive. Here's what a lot of these companies are going to struggle with. So they need to be cash flow positive. That's number one. They all already should be right now. If they're not right now, then they should be concerned. Cash flow positive from operations. Obviously, they then can use that cash to invest in the company. But from operations, if you look at the statement of cash flow from operations, these guys should be positive now. The next thing we need to see is positive EBITDA. So that's a non-GAAP measure, right? That is not GAAP. For those of you, most of you probably know. For those of you who don't, generally accepted accounting principles. That's how the financial statements are prepared. So there's a lot of adjustments that are made from those GAAP accounting financial statements to non-GAAP numbers that are more meaningful to investors. And one of them is earnings before interest, depreciation, amortization, taxes. So, that's EBITDA. We need to see these companies have positive EBITDA. What a lot of these companies are going to suffer with over the next year or two before they become actually profitable from an accounting standpoint using GAAP, the companies that spent huge dollars, the companies that bought Bitcoin machines at $100 a terahash and that kind of stuff, there's two different pieces to that puzzle. Number one, that money's spent and gone. It's sunk money, so there's no point in lamenting it. They now have the machines. They need to get the most out of those machines that they can. They don't need to spend any more money. They already own the machines. But from a generally accepted accounting principle standpoint, they're going to have to depreciate those machines. And obviously, if they spent 3 times as much, their depreciation is going to be 3 times as much. And so it's going to look like they're not making money. And so you can argue it looks like that because they're not making money. But my point is they could be very cash flow positive. They could be posting some very impressive positive earnings from EBITDA and still yet not be positive earnings per share using GAAP. So they're all the reset button will be pressed. This is kind of a 4-year cycle. So the technology does run its course and everyone's going to get a chance to do this all over again. But in the meantime, what I would be concerned about with these companies is generating gross profit, being cash flow positive. I mean, what's done is done. So if you're a company that's already sunk the money into the machines, get the most out of those machines that you possibly can. Because the flip side of that is some of these companies are using 3-year depreciation schedules. Some of them are using 2-year depreciation schedules on their Bitcoin mining machines. So, if you've written off 100%, if you've taken depreciation to 100% on your machine after 2 years, and you find a way to make it useful for 4 years or 5 years, and that is absolutely going to be possible, particularly with the XPs. But there's other models that have made the journey for 3 or 4 or 5 years of usefulness. Maybe not maximum usefulness, peak usefulness, but the more every Bitcoin you get out of one of those machines helps. It improves that equation.
Edmund says sell Bitfarm $1 November 19th for 26 cents. You get $26 for every 100 shares, or buy 74. Oh wait. If Bitfarm skyrocket above dollars, you just keep the money, pure profit.
Right. It's just as long as it closes above $1 and it's got until November, that's just profit. The risk is, if they go out of business in the middle, then your risk. So that's an easy risk reward. Your reward, if you sold them at 27 cents, your reward is 27 cents. And unless you do something to mitigate it, your risk is 73 cents, because that would be Bitcoin going from $1 to 0. You got paid 27 cents of that. You're going to have to subsidize the other 73. And obviously, Bitfarms 0 is not a realistic. It doesn't mean it's impossible, right? Obviously, anything can happen, but that's not really a realistic downside scenario. I think that's an incredibly, incredibly attractive trade. So there's trades like that where all those extra dollars. That's on $1, that's 26% in a half a year. So that's like 50+% interest, annualized interest return on your investment. That's monstrous, right? You're beating every hedge fund on earth doing that. So
yeah, but the problem is it's going to reset itself for Monday.
What?
The option.
Once you sell that, now it's too late because it's Friday, so We'll see what price it is on Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be different. I can tell you that. Whether it's a penny difference or 5 cents, it's going to be different.
That's
because you know how many times we've strategized on Friday, and then come Monday morning, It's like you hit the button, you wait till 9:30, and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, did
even
everything just change?"
I know you can strategize all weekend, and even there's times, and I stay up late. I'm a night person, so there's times 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning before the market opens. It's still looking good, and I'm like, I'm still okay. The plan still works, and then it
Right.
never fails. Right before the U.S. equity markets open, you might as well have wasted your whole weekend doing analysis because everything changes, and then the futures flip. If looking at the equity futures is an exercise in futility because the correlation between the futures and where the market ends up on any given day is extremely weak correlation.
I've got a crazy one for you, Tom.
Yeah.
Because Elon Musk just put the new CEO in there, right? Some lady from NBC.
Yeah. I saw that.
WNBC. I bet you he's going to go public again.
Oh, you think so?
I think it's going to take 1 year to 2 years, but I think he will.
Man,
he's taking and making what is that? SpaceX is going public.
That I can see. I mean, you might be exactly right. Maybe he's going to create some value, turn that company around, and he bought it for whatever, 40 billion, and if he can go public for 100, then he won huge. So, but I don't the headache on that, because it's social media, the benefit of not having to deal with the
SEC.
Right, exactly. The whole deal is
all the tech. Can you imagine all the tweets?
Exactly.
When he does what he does. But it's sad, Tom? What's 100 million, whatever.
Oh yeah, exactly.
What's the dip? What do you think this dip's all about? Tom, on Bitcoin, by the way. Did you answer that?
I didn't answer that if somebody's asked. So why have we gone, and I'm going to go back to the 1 day so we can see why did we break through this line? I'll tell you one thing that Alex said earlier is, listen, you can only test a line of support. This 27,000 was holding, and it was holding, and it was holding. We tested it again here, and you know what? At some point, you can only test it so many times, and eventually it doesn't hold. So that's a piece of the puzzle. I know there was a lot of debt ceiling worry, the bank worries, but I didn't see this coming. I will tell you, yesterday when we broke below this ascending green line here, then I did turn short-term bearish, only to the extent that I thought we would go retest 25,000, but that's just a technical trade. And if you look at the RSI and the MACD, you'll see at the same time, so I had a green line here that I've had for a long time. We broke below that, and now it looks like I think we'll probably go. I shouldn't say probably, because you can see this chart does all different things, but it looks to me this was a very strong line of support on the daily RSI over 40. We've now broken down to, it looks like 37, and that sounds like we're headed towards a reset. 30 is considered oversold, anything under 30. So we did get, last time around, back on March 10th, before we had this big run up, we got down to 28.59 on the daily RSI. So anything at or around or just under that 30, it looks like you can see, this is kind of what's been going on lately. So, for a while it was in this ambiguous area, but it's broken out of that. So now to me, that's just a technical, and the technicals don't always work. They don't always fall through. And this is just one piece of the puzzle. But in conjunction with the fact that we broke below this line of support, this ascending line of support, so that didn't hold. 27,000 didn't hold. This didn't hold. And now if you look at the daily MACD, we keep getting deeper and deeper into the red. Everything looks like a reset to me right now. So we had a run. I think this is just a very short-term reset where we bounce off of all of this could happen simultaneously with us maybe bouncing around at 25,000 and then heading back up. Who knows? Maybe it's lower than that. Or maybe you guys are right. Maybe we already bottomed and we're on the way back up. Because if I go back to the 15 minutes, it sure looks like we're rebounding right now.
I'm going to tell you
Bart
something.
Simpson. Sorry, George.
No problem. The pool I could not get over is the Foundry. Isn't that the one out of Rochester, New York?
I don't know where Foundry Pool is out of.
I'm pretty sure it is. That thing is like, it's the biggest one out there.
Yeah, they're huge. I think they are the biggest one out there. And you know, that whole, there was several pools. Everything changed when China kicked everybody out. So that we can go see. There's a chart that shows the size of each pool. And did you also hear that
China is going to allow people to buy cryptocurrency again? I'm trying to remember what month it was. I'm pretty sure it's the end of this year. I can't remember. It's either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So that should be good for Bitcoin too.
Yes.
I mean, I would imagine this whole BRICS thing will have worked itself out in another 1.5 to 2 years. When they, right? Yes, no?
Well,
did I lose you?
No, you didn't lose me. Yes, we think.
Yes, we think. Hey, you got a couple questions for you. Mike said, it's always a dip before the rip.
Well, that's the new line of thinking in 2023. Buy the dip. Buy the dip and wait for the rip. In 2022 by the way, I did buy the dip all year in 2022, but it was, you know, it didn't pay off all year. It is now, but that was a long road. And I know I'm not alone. A lot of you guys hung in there all the while.
Saeed, I don't, what company are you talking about? Because it doesn't make sense what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying, something about liquidity, but I think you might mean CleanSpark.
I'm reading that. I think they're talking about CleanSpark. They diluted a lot recently, unfortunately, and doesn't seem like it was a good average they did it at. So I think I ran the numbers, and it was at like $3.68 on the average. So, you know, they needed the money.
Are they done with it, Tom?
They're going to need more money. I mean, if you listen to their conference call, if you read their press release, you're going to see that they've come out and they've been crystal clear about this all along. There was a raging, I don't even want to bring it up because it's been put to rest and where I think it's best left, but there was a raging debate about CleanSpark's dilution. The thing is, CleanSpark has never, this is not a trick they're pulling. It's not a lie they're telling. They've been very upfront. They are diluting. They're getting to 16 exahash. They're not taking on debt. They keep saying they haven't ruled out debt, but there is no debt. There is no debt. So they're not going to get debt. They don't mine enough Bitcoin. They just bought, right? They did a press release. We're buying $150 million of Bitcoin miners. We will have them all paid for by September. So, you know, unless that money is going to come from the Tooth Fairy or, you know, Santa Claus, there is no other place for that money to come from. It's going to be through dilution. There's nobody that questions that. It's just an absolute fact. And they did do a massive amount of dilution. And I'm okay with it because they've also done a massive amount of growth. I like where they're going. I think that, you know, yeah, I would have loved it if they could have done that at $7 a share, but that just wasn't reality. And they have a plan. They're executing their plan. I still have all of my CleanSpark, and it's one of my biggest positions. So not financial advice. I'm just telling you. You know, a lot of people think I'm ragging on CleanSpark, saying that, you know, they're diluting. I'm just stating the fact that they openly state this is their plan. They're executing their plan. And no, they are not done. I think they need to do probably another, if they're lucky, I think they need to issue another 20 million shares to get where they're going. That's my guess.
Wow. I have a question. Are there other miners that are going to need to do the same thing, Tom?
Several other miners continue to dilute. Yes, some of them are not. You know, there's a few miners that kind of got where they're going, and
Wolf.
Well, I don't think Wolf's diluting. I don't think Cypher's diluting. I don't think who else? Iris Energy. I don't think Iris Energy is diluting anytime soon. Now, Iris Energy did talk about some future plans that will require dilution because they have a massive amount of potential growth left. But, you know, they didn't. It's not imminent. They're not talking about doing it right now. We're temporarily losing George. FV702 said Cleanspark to $20 at the year end. So I'd be thrilled with that because I added to Cleanspark just like Bitfarms all year last year, and I even added this year in 2023. I was still adding because it was lagging in my opinion. So, you know, that and Riot I added a lot to. Those are my probably 3 biggest positions. I hold 7 or 8 of these miners at this point, and I'm thinking about a little consolidation. So one of the things I'm going to try to do over the weekend is get to the bottom of what do I think are the best 5 or 6 miners, and maybe just scale back and go with those 5 or 6. It probably won't be any more than 5 or 6 because there's some that are now differentiating themselves in my opinion, and I don't want to give my list right now before I do the rest of my studying all weekend long. But like I said, next week, by the end of next week, I will put out a new top 8 list that, you know, is updated from the one I did on January 1st of 2023.
Brent said that Foundry is in Rochester, #1 pool in the world.
Oh, it
31.27 of all Bitcoin blocked through Foundry. Isn't that crazy?
Nice.
We're both from Rochester, New York also, by the way.
That's right. Born and raised. There's so much stuff going on in Rochester. You know, when we grew up, it was Eastman Kodak, which was one of the biggest companies in the world. And, you know, they employed, I don't know, an astronomical amount of people. But now it's being infilled with a lot of other cutting edge stuff. So
it's great to see.
It is. There's
Bitcoin. Hang on. Bitcoin Rules is in the house.
Bitcoin Rules.
Hey, just got on. I just bought Bitcoin at 26,150. I think we're gonna head back to 28K. And what you guys think?
I mean, I'm still sticking with the fact I think we're going to bounce off 25, but I have no problem if somebody bought some at 26,000. That
could be the perfect timing.
Everyone's going to look back and think that was a good buying opportunity, whether it was the absolute bottom or whether we pull back a little more than that. So I wouldn't go all in on the same day. I don't know if this is a person that added to their Bitcoin or if they went from 0 to a Bitcoin in one day. Even if they did that, I think, you know, if you believe in Bitcoin, then your long-term price target has nothing to do with 26,000 or any number that's anywhere, you know, 2, 3, 4x that.
My problem is I still think it's going to go down. I'm sorry, guys, but I really do. I think it's still going to go down.
You think we're going to get hit?
I think they got one more in us. And you know what's really funny is because this all didn't happen until after our fun guys got involved in the crypto. I won't say their names, but you guys should know who I'm talking about. If you think about it, it's a double whammy because you can manipulate the price of Bitcoin, and then you can because of that, you can buy the stock cheaper.
There's no doubt. These stocks particularly are easy to push around. And today was some strange behavior. I just want to say, Bitcoin Rules said my husband is from Rochester, Pittsford. So just so for the vast majority of you who don't know,
we have a stream with only Rochesterians on it?
Pittsford is the good part of town. So FYI.
and the PGA is going to be there next week, by the way.
That's right.
Gassing the jet up already.
Let's see.
That's insane. That blows my mind. Iris, 55 million, 5.5 exahash with clear plans to 6.5 in a few months, no debt, and 23% management inside owners, well worth a 5 to 10K stake worth.
I agree with
Thanks,
everything.
Edmund.
I agree with all of that. I did a deep dive recently on them, and then, they did their investor presentation, and they brought some more stuff up that I felt good about. The only thing I didn't feel good about, and I'm going to leave it be because it seemed like a very off-the-cuff presentation. Like, a lot of these are much more polished. Not the document, just the people speaking. Maybe just they're a little bit new to this, and but I'm not even gonna weight that at all in my decision, because they're, as a company, I love everything they're doing. I think they're making good decisions. They have a massive amount of growth potential, and that they own. They reiterated they own 100% of it. It's 100% vertical integration. So there's a lot ahead for those guys. I like them. I did add to my Iris Energy position. Actually, that's one I opened in 2023. I opened a Cypher position in 2023. Oh, in the last 3 weeks, Cypher and Iris, I started a position in and added to it. So
this is Martin. This is a great question. Is Hive still in the game, Tom?
Funny you should mention that. So Hive put out a press release today. Their path to get to, I'm going to pull it up because it's funny. It's interesting. Hive Blockchain announces growth plan to 6 exahash. Up and establishment of at-the-market equity program. So this is today. So just as a matter of absolute coincidence, for those of you who already listened to this, I know some of you know this, that was my threshold. I just put out a video 2 days ago that said basically every Bitcoin miner has got to have a plan to get to 6 exahash by the halving. And the ones who don't are probably not going to, they're going to be a different group. That doesn't mean they're all going to fail, but that was the cutoff to me. So, now it's 1 or 2 days later, and Hive is putting out a press release that they're getting to 6 exahash. And it's not right away, but they talk about their plan, and they've got a path to get to it, and they're going to do it through an at-the-market equity program. So you asked, is anybody else diluting? Here's Hive Blockchain telling you they are going to dilute to get to 6 exahash, which, by the way, is a double for them. They're at just over 3 right now, I believe.
Thanks, Mike. He said, nice Chevy. I realized it says High Country on it when I got out of the car to help my wife.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what that means or anything. I think it's a base model, I think. I don't remember. So that brings me to the next one, Tom. What about HUD? Is this merger ever going to happen? This is ridiculous.
People are very frustrated with HUD right now. Having said that, here's a day where, the last 2 hours notwithstanding, everything was in the red. And, this was one of the Bitcoin miners that was up today. They were up 3.57%. Now, they're only at $1.74. They're not back to $2 yet. I think everybody's watching and waiting. So I didn't get a lot out of, their information. They've got, ironically, from a financial statement presentation, they did better than everybody else because they have a gigantic stack of Bitcoin and it's worth a lot more than it was. So, don't discount the fact that they have 9,000 Bitcoin. They're a very small market cap company to have that amount of Bitcoin. So I know operationally speaking, they even talked about, it's been a confluence of events. This happened bad, that happened bad. And I know, we don't like that kind of talk and, excuses. But financially, this is a super strong company. we've yet to all decide, I think, or, I think the world has yet to decide whether or not this merger of equals makes sense or not. I feel like, that'll get them to 7 exahash. So there you go. This is, you know what I mean? If they do this, they get to 7 exahash. It might cause a pullback in the stock for a short period of time, but they do have 9,000 Bitcoin. And if you believe in Bitcoin, they did start this year because of the pending merger. They've been selling the Bitcoin that they mine, but they mine almost no Bitcoin. And then strangely, this last month, they didn't even sell that Bitcoin because they did agree to sell the Bitcoin that they mined each month just to pay for operations, so it wouldn't change the math on the merger, because they wouldn't have to dilute. But I haven't written them off. I have questions. I definitely have a lot more questions than I used to about HUT, but I am not writing them off, and you can't dismiss. They have the third strongest balance sheet out of all these companies.
That's crazy. Tom said this. Another time, not you. MIGI. Who's that? MIGI?
Mawson. Yeah.
I thought it was Mawson. The dilution this week. It makes sense. They're going to increase production by 6-fold.
I know. I want to take some more time and look at what they're doing. I'll tell you, I have not done. That's why I want to get this weekend under my belt and really go through everything. I got so many numbers swimming around in my head. But yes, they're now, if I'm remembering correctly, and again, I'll have to double check this, but the way I remembered it, they were expanding their capacity. I don't know that they said they were expanding their actual amount of execution in, buying machines and running machines and owning machines. So their production. But so correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're doing a massive expansion in their capacity, but that could mean, that they're going to fill that up with hosting or, high performance data centers or I don't know what. So, but again, I do want to do more research on that over the weekend. That's not fresh in my head.
It's not fresh in your head. Hey, I agree with you, Matthew. Thank you for that. Hit the like button, please.
Oh,
if you like the stream, get it out to more people.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. We're at 75 likes.
I don't even think I've done it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Hang on. I think I got to turn it the other way to do it. Sorry, guys.
Did you do it?
I can't even find it. I can't even find it on my... Oh, there it is. There we go. I got it. There we go.
Okay, so Tom
then
is
I can
saying...
go back. Here we go.
They have gone from 5,700 machines to 13,500 machines just in the past month for self-mining. So they are actually increasing their self-mining. That's, obviously much more than a double, not a triple yet, but that's a 2.5x. So that's significant. And they're one of the companies that really had to take a step back. And there's several companies that had to do this, but to their credit, a lot of these companies found a way to get it done. They sold parts of their company, they gave machines back, they did various things to get themselves in a position. They were in a nightmare 8 months ago, but now they're not. They've found a way to move forward, and now it looks like they're adding exahash. So I will take the rest of my look through their information and see what's what, but that's encouraging.
So would you say, so there's definitely 10 miners that have definitely stepped away from everybody else, wouldn't you say? Or is it less than that?
It's less than that, in my opinion. I think there's 6 or 7 miners that, to me, I think when I make my top 8 list, the 9 and 10, I can even do 10, but there's a drop-off. And that doesn't mean they're bad companies. There's lots of companies that are still in that realm where they got a lot of potential and we'll see what happens and they could end up winners. But there are several companies that, in my opinion, are starting to differentiate themselves and pull away from the pack. And I went through...
Go ahead.
I went through in detail. If you did not watch my last video, it was really just talking about this is what as I look at all these Bitcoin miners, this is what I think their success formula is. So the companies that are doing these 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 things, I think are the companies that are going to succeed and, you know, be the winners. So that's the litmus test I'm going to use as I go through all these financials again and redo my list and reshuffle my investments. I think it's time. There's been such massive growth and changes in this industry that it's time to take a second look at everything and make sure I'm satisfied with, you know, what I'm in and maybe what I need to move to.
You should record that. Tom was saying this. Mawson has a call on earnings call on Monday. You should record that and like get a question asked.
I listen to the earnings calls less and less. I'm able to listen to them in real time because especially this time they all bunched up right on top of each other. So I don't know when their earnings call is. It could be in conflict with Bitfarms earnings call, which is also on Monday.
Oh, is it?
So I will listen to one live and then I'll listen to the other one on recording if they're at the same time. I haven't looked at that. I think I have a list of that somewhere.
Interesting. Do you want to commit to a 9:30 stream on Monday morning, Tom?
I think we got to see what happens. What do you want to do?
No, I want to do it for the options because I really want to do that the option that Edmund was talking about.
Oh, you want to take a look at that and do a practical application?
And then I want to because I'll ask like the questions that everybody will want to ask, I'm sure, about options because I don't know anything about options.
Okay, so we can do that. And I don't want to talk about the universe of options because for those of you, and I know a lot of you are experienced or very experienced or some level of experience, the things that you can do with options are endless. So I do want to start, you know, at the beginning and talk about there's, you know, 4 basic things you can do that you need a thorough understanding of that. And then there's a million things you can do past that. So I think we should take that approach and start with some easy, you know, start with the basics, even though most of you I know are well beyond that probably, but I know a lot of people don't. For those of you who trade options a lot, you may be surprised to find out that most investors do not trade options at all. So that's the vast majority of investors. So a lot of people
would you say like only 10% of investors trade options?
I bet it's, you know, altogether of retail investors, that's probably true. But remember, you know, if you're an investor, if you have a 401k, if you have, you know, a lot of people are old school. They have a broker take care of their stuff. So none of those people do any option stuff at all. Zero. If you're a retail trader and you're on, you know, you're on a platform on your phone making trades, then, you know, the likelihood goes up that you do use some options, at least some of the basic techniques. And then some of you I've heard recommend, you know, more complicated option strategies. And it gets into crazy time. So, you know, those would have to be, you can't even do those in real time. I mean, if we want to do a series of videos on those, but we could do some of the basic 4 in real time.
That's a good one. Do a poll. How many people will show up for options Monday morning at 9:30? Can you do that or no? You don't want to do it?
Doing it right now.
Alex is saying Beam also earning call on Monday.
Ah, yes. Beam.
Edmund, if you have any other ideas, I hope you're in the Discord. Send them on any other things that we should look at. Any other options we should look at? So Tom, when we first started doing this, I got really big in the options right in the beginning, and I lost my shorts, and I got scared of them ever since.
People should be afraid, and they are not to be misused. They're ultra leveraged play. So and I'm not saying don't do them. And I know a lot of our members make a lot of money on options, And, depending on the environment, one way or the other, there's money to be made. Edmund just went through what I consider an outstanding, really, I feel bad I'm not already doing it. That's a no-brainer in my opinion. Just my opinion, not financial advice.
Who is this? Butane admitting they've been mining Bitcoin since 2017 without telling its citizens? What other country? I heard that Russia started mining heavily. Isn't there a website you can go and you can see where the Bitcoins are going that are mined?
I don't know. I mean, they all go. You can see what wallet they're going to. I don't know geographically, although a lot of that information is out there on different websites. I know that the UAE has made it clear they have intent to get into this space. They're dabbling with it, and what they're doing with Marathon is small. It just is. It's very small. This is like dipping their toe in the water. But if there's more to come there's money there that's astronomical.
Well, I mean, if they've been mining since 2017, I can't imagine how many coins they have.
81 likes. 81 likes. Don't forget to smash the like button.
It's funny because we had a ton of people.
I know we've had a lot of people, but it would have been more if we had more people smash the like button. Thank you to everybody who smashed the like button. Thank you to everybody who's commenting. Thank you very much to all existing members. Much appreciated. The way YouTube has been lately, it's really the only reason I'm even doing this at this point. So, thank you very much.
Is YouTube that bad?
It's brutal, dude. It's brutal. So, I appreciate the memberships. It's only $5 a month, and I know that seems immaterial, but this is, you hate to lose money doing this and time and all that stuff. So, much appreciation to all of the existing members.
Darren said, my options are simple. Buy calls on miners that are unreasonably cheap, given the strike date.
So, Darren, are you thinking leap options?
Yeah, don't be you're already complicating it.
You're right. See, this is what I'm saying. And that's a pretty straightforward one, but a leap option is basically a longer term option. I've seen different sources define that differently, but, at least 6 months. Usually it's a year or 2 years out.
CVT Dallas loves options. GameStop all the way, baby.
See, I won't do any more GameStop, AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm out of the meme stocks for life. But there's a lot of people that made a lot of money on those, and there's a lot of people that lost a lot of money on those. So I guess it just depends which side you were on. George, you remember we were at lunch. This was 1.5 or 2 years ago. I did the one option on AMC, and it went up 1,800% while we were at lunch. And
you sold it.
I sold it at lunch, and I was like, I'm never doing this again, and I haven't done it since.
That was insane. Don't you remember that? That was like awesome.
That was a great trade, but it was just pure luck, really, is from my perspective. I know some of you may have a better handle on that. I just feel like I got in and out lucky on that one. So,
the website, Alex, it's called Glassnode. Okay, now I understand what you said. Alex just wrote Glassnode, and I got you.
Yes,
that must be the website, Glassnode. Darren flipped some calls on DKNG.
DraftKings.
Bought a month ago, sold Monday for greater than double.
Yeah, DraftKings had a huge run. I was a DraftKings doubter, so good job buying those, and sounds like you flipped them for some money. Nice work. I doubted DraftKings. I'm still surprised. Not that they've gone to the moon or anything, but they had a nice run up to a place I didn't think they were going. So did a few other stocks. There's
Tim has interesting comment. Marathon partnered in the UAE. Is the UAE Sovereign Wealth Fund? Is this good or bad?
So this is what I just alluded to. Yes, they have a 20%. Marathon has a 20% stake in a partnership that they're doing. Essentially, it's a sovereign fund. There's a company, but it's owned by the sovereign fund. So the UAE they own 80% of it. Marathon owns 20% of it. I think it's only 260 megawatts. So that is, 260 is a lot, but it's small. It's the smallest piece of even what Marathon is doing. So, this is why I'm saying they're dipping their toe in the water. So if, there's another $1 billion of money behind that, then yeah, that could be a game changer. And we need to see, I am interested to see the economics of that, because essentially they're going to have to do all immersion cooling, is what I believe they said on the conference call, or I read in their financials. I can't remember where I saw that, but effectively you can't, it's too hot. So, it will be all immersion cooling. And if the economics on that work for them, and they're, they got potentially very cheap energy, right? Their energy costs could be very tough to beat. So, we'll see. Right now, that's a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of the equation. But if that turns into a giant piece of the equation, that could be a game changer. And Marathon is the one company that has set up an agreement over there and kind of gotten into the game with them. But very early days in that at this point.
I would imagine. Tim also said that Marathon plans on making their own miners. That's what Fred said. Did you hear that too, Tom?
I did not hear that. So, That's
interesting.
I'll have to listen to the Marathon call. I haven't listened to.
Do they just have too much cash still, Tom?
They have a nice liquidity. They have a lot of cash. They have a big stack of Bitcoin. I'm okay with all that. There's a few things in their financial statements that are funky. I will tell you, as I dug through all the financial statements, there was at least one significant thing in almost every single company that was a little frustrating to me. It skews the financial results. And so, it is going to take some more time. I'm not saying any of it's inappropriate or wrong. It's just, there's flexibility in accounting. So depending on whatever accounting, whatever you say is your accounting practice, as long as you're consistently applying it, you can do different things. And these companies are doing very different things. And Marathon's doing some stuff that I think made their numbers look a lot better this quarter. And, the price to pay is that there's, next year's numbers maybe are going to suffer a little for that. Maybe they're hoping that by then everything's in such a great place, it won't make a difference.
Saeed said, what's the point of CleanSpark going to Europe recently? They should have done the deal like Marathon in the Middle East.
I don't know what is the sense of going to Europe, because Europe is not doing the Bitcoin mining thing, period. So unless somebody knows something that I don't know, that's like those guys are out.
Wow, 73% will show up Monday for that options out of 26 votes. That's awesome.
All right, 26
That's
votes.
Great. I didn't think that many people were interested in it. That's great.
Well, vote yes or no. Do us a favor, please. Voting obviously is free, so vote yes or no. We only have 26 votes, so there's a lot of you on here who haven't said so. Let's find out if this is something people are really interested in, and we'll take our time and do it. Or
are we going to fail again, Tom? Not get to 100 likes?
We're at 87 likes. I know. That's the new trend. We don't quite get to 100 anymore.
Edmund George Wolf puts $2.50 put, $1.30 last price. June $2 put, 65 cents can be attractive. I have a ton of both. Dude, you guys are going to get me back in these crazy options again.
Well, so who brought it up? You jumped on it, but somebody else did bring it up.
Somebody else brought it up, but I mean, it's time, you know.
Miguel said, I bought 200 Bitfarm calls, $1 strike price for 818 for a price of $30 per contract. Hope it will print money. So, yeah, I mean, you've got 3 months. Is that right? 3 months to... I mean, Bitfarms is at 98 cents today, so it dipped down a little bit today, but it's been over $1. It's been between $1 and $1.20. I think it belongs at $1.50 right now, in my opinion. So I'm still waiting for that push. So far I've been wrong. I thought it would run to $1.50. It's not done that yet. That's what I'm still waiting for. I did though say I think we need this Bitcoin run up to 31,000, and when we get that, I think Bitfarms is going to run to $1.50. Probably beyond, but none of that's happened yet, so we'll see. So you're banking that that's going to happen before 8:18. I have some of those same calls, by the way, so I'm on the same page with you on that one, Miguel. Edmund said Bitcoin usually drops late on Sunday. Key for next week if it can be above 27 going into Monday. Yeah, so that will be interesting because we're a little under. We dropped under this 27 that was a very, I won't say very strong, but it was, a month and a half line of support. And we dropped below that today. Let's see if by the end of the weekend we could get above that. That would be very encouraging.
I didn't even say anything bad this time, Tom. I've been very politically correct.
Very nicely done. Hold on. We got the George killing it. George is killing it on the stream.
I know. I was worried. I was thinking about it. I was worried about saying stuff wrong.
I pressed the other George button by accident.
That's the one. You're too funny. Drop late Sunday. Edmund saying BTC usually drops late Sunday. So we've always said, well, I don't know if you said this time, but I've always said 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and then 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I see the most movement on Bitcoin.
So many days there is movement somewhere around those two times for whatever reason. JD said, because this is an important point, newbies shouldn't do options. So, yeah, I would say they should not dive into the deep end with options. If you want to, study and learn options and start with the absolute basics, it should be crawl, walk, run with options. So please start by crawling.
Right, and you just buy one or two. And here's the other thing, too. Don't get spooks in the middle. That's what I used to always do.
Options are another level of volatility. They require another level of risk. So, you have to be, very risk tolerant to trade options. Then obviously the shorter term they are, the more, risk you're taking on. Let's see. Darren said correction to above calls on CleanSpark September 2023 $5, January 2024 $10, 2025 all strikes whatever is on sale. Riot December 2023 $13, 2025 all strike points whatever's on sale. So that's what Darren's doing with some more longer term options.
Well, what's funny is when you see options, it's like, oh my goodness, just to pull up a chart and then look at the calls and the puts and then the different dates of when they mature. Wow. Do you think that's where the majority of money is made in hedge funds? Or no?
I don't think so. I think obviously every hedge fund is its own thing, but I would guess they use that more as a hedge, if you will, against their investments than they do as a way to try to make money. Most hedge funds are not trying to destroy the S&P 500. So they're not, most retail investors have a much, much higher expectation and rate of return than hedge funds do. And the retail investors that are successful do much, much better than hedge funds. The problem is only a very small percentage of retail investors are successful. So, you know, it's a big learning curve.
Big learning curve.
Stephen English said the night is young yet, George. I think he's saying don't celebrate on your good behavior yet.
Oh, is that? No, they probably just see my face and, oh, not that fat bastard again. Steven, he thinks that retailer guys like us are moving away into CleanSpark and maybe away from Marathon and Riot.
Well, I must confess, I spent all 2022 buying Riot, and I got really what I considered an oversized position. So I did switch out some of my Riot, but some of what I switched it out for was Marathon, because I do think Marathon and Riot have flip-flopped market cap probably 50 different times over the last 3 years, and I think it'll happen again. Marathon is lagging Riot's performance over the last several months, so I actually went from Riot to Marathon, but I did sell. It's the only thing I've really sold. I'm holding almost everything. Obviously, I'm buying and selling options is a different story, but my stock positions I pretty much just hold on to. But I did tell everybody on the live streams the days that I was doing that. So I don't know tell everybody every single trade I do, but I try to keep people in the loop. And I have been trying to, in the members only Discord, I have been trying to say more and more what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
JR said it would be really cool to discuss some actionable option moves, not just theory.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you want to do. You want to look at some Bitfarms options and maybe buy some or sell some or whatever the case may be. So I think we'll try to do that. Bitfarms to me is an easy one to work with because it's at 98 cents. It's, plus or minus $1. Now, they only do monthlies, but I wouldn't want, I certainly wouldn't deal with anything shorter term than that right now anyway.
Joe, why haven't you spoken about Riot's quarter return release?
Riot. Well, first of all, to my knowledge, they have not done, unless they did it today, I did not hear a press conference. Riot did not announce their release. They just did it. So,
oh, really?
I don't like that. I'll just tell you. And it is still probably my biggest position. So, I'm not saying it's a bad company. I'm just telling you, I don't like that. There's ample opportunity for them to disclose when they're going to release their earnings and when they're going to have an earnings call. And I like simultaneously, they should have a press release, an earnings call, and file their, 10Q to the SEC so that we have access to all that information on a timely basis to do that together, instead of having to try and piece puzzles together over, timeout. Thank you to George for a super chat. Beer money. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thanks,
that is our first super chat on the day. Thank you very much. Hope you had a good trading week. Welcome if you're new or if you've been here all
Beer
along.
Looks like you're buying some.
I guess.
It's a long commute, but.
So gas money.
Oh, so that's why you're aggravated with Riot.
So I don't know. I haven't even gone back to circle back around because there's so many, everybody's been putting everything out at once, and then right in the middle, all of a sudden, they put a press release out. So they did also file their 10Q, but I'm still not sure. I can go to their site and check right now. Did they have their earnings call? You can drop it in the chat and let me know, because if they did, I haven't listened to it yet.
Okay, Edmund gave us a great example. Buy 200 Bitfarms, cast 98 times 2, 196. Sell 2 Bitfarms November 19th, $1 put, and collect 26 times 2, $52. Bitfarm 1 plus November keep the 52. If below, your cost will be 200 minus $52, which is 148. I know why people get all messed up. They see that and they get overwhelmed. You know that? It makes sense, Edmund. It's perfectly logical.
The
But they
hardest
just see
part is
that.
to walk that through in real time during trading hours. Like, that is a great one, and I think we should take a snapshot of that and save it and talk about it on Monday, because these are the things, once you get the basics down, so that's a little bit above the basics. It's probably second nature to Edmund and those who've been doing this for a long time, but that is a little harder. It's hard to remember back to, you know, when options were new to you. They're very scary to people that don't do them. That's a great pairing that you got there, and I think we should go through stuff like that. But it does get more. I think a lot of people don't give credit to just how confusing this is to most people. Right? It's one of those things. It's a light bulb. Once you get it, you know, if you've done it for long enough, once you get it, it's so second nature that it's hard to imagine that everybody else doesn't get it. But the truth is, it does require that kind of light bulb moment, and it can be very confusing for people.
Oh, you ready? Here's the question from Steven. I'll give you both 100K to invest in one miner. This is the $1 million question. You have to hold for 2 years. Take your time. Which company do you pick? And I know Tom's answer. Tom's answer is going to be, I wouldn't take and invest all 100,000 in one miner.
I just wouldn't. I'll try to answer the question, but there's no scenario where I would do that, but I'll try to answer the question, understanding that I would never do that.
I'm going to go with a different one, by the way. I have two in my head.
See, I just don't see an earnings call. Does anybody know, has Riot done an earnings call, or did they just kind of put out a press release and hope nobody noticed and moved on?
I got two. You ready? CleanSpark and Wolf.
Okay. That's two. You got to pick one.
Oh, I have to pick only one? You know what? I'm going to say Wolf. Because the one reason why I say Wolf is because they've already said they're not going to do any more dilution. But that's going to slow them down once there's a halving. And that's the thing with, I think CleanSpark is a little aggressive. And I think that they're going for too much, you know? And when you get that aggressive with that type of money, something goes wrong.
Here's why I would say there's a mitigating factor to that. Because we saw aggression lead to failure with several of these Bitcoin miners. A lot of them didn't go out of business, but they had to get rid of their machines, do drastic things. We did have Core Scientific, which was clearly the most aggressive out of all of them by a mile, go Chapter 11. So I understand that line of reasoning. The one thing I'll say is CleanSpark has done this. They have almost no debt. They've done this through stock dilution, which I know pisses a lot of people off, and it's a real hot button topic that, you know, we all have to agree to disagree, and it is what it is, but that's how they're doing it. As a result of that, you know, it's a lot less risky proposition. You may feel like there's not value there and you don't want to buy the stock, but it doesn't run them dry. They're not setting themselves up where their debt service is going to make their liquidity, you know, going to overrun their liquidity, and they're going to go out of business. So they're not taking the same risk. By growing to 16 exahash, they did not take the same level of risk. The only thing they did was, are shareholders willing to take this? I mean, I think they diluted pretty close to 100% over the last year. But you know what? They're 500% bigger company. So, you know, for me, I go, that works for me. Some people.
And the other thing though, Tom, is they're still selling their Bitcoin.
Yes. Now they did say on this call that it's going to be a part of their strategy to increase their HODL position, and they specifically talked about what I believe that they're going to try to do. So this is my opinion, and he they said this without exactly saying this word for word. What I got out of the conference call was we are going to gear up between now and September, and by the end of September, we will own all of our machines to get us to 16 exahash. Now, some of those machines are going to be installed in October, November, December, but they will be exahashing 16 full exahash by December 31st. So I think there's going to be somewhere between a 4 and 7 month window at the end of 2023 and the first 3 or 4 months of 2024 where CleanSpark is going to try to hodl every single Bitcoin that they can get past what they have to pay operations for. So I think they're going to continue to pay for their operations. But if they gear up, you know, where all of a sudden they're mining, I'm just going to use a number, 1,000 Bitcoin, you know, maybe they try to save 850 of them. Because they did say this is the last best chance to hodl Bitcoin. Between now and the halving, once the halving occurs, it's going to get a lot harder to radically increase your hodl position. So they did stress they will be focusing on that. But at the same time, they want to vastly increase their operations. They want, you know, so there's a give and take. And the only relief valve on that is stock dilution. Because they're not getting any debt. I'm just telling you right now, you know, they continue to say either through, you know, debt or equity, but we all know what that means.
It's equity.
Right.
I'm just worried that if we have a really big pullback in Bitcoin, it's going to present a problem.
If we have a gigantic pullback and then we go into the halving, there's going to be lots of companies that have a big problem.
That would scare, but that's why I like Wolf.
Well,
they won't have that problem.
If you're looking at companies, theoretically, so I will put this full analysis out. I haven't finished it yet, and we still need a few reports. But in theory, if Wolf does what they say they're going to do, their cost per coin right now is about $7,000. We also saw Cypher come in with a similar cost per coin. So those two companies right now are significantly lower than all the other companies. There's several other companies that have a very good cost per coin. They've done a great, all the companies so far that have reported have done a very good job of keeping their direct costs down. You know, given that that's, as the network, by nature, you would think as the network doubled in the course of the year, the difficulty level doubled in the course of the year. So you would think as a function of that, you know, your cost per Bitcoin doubled, but that's not what's happened. These guys are finding a way to get more and more efficient every single quarter, and they're keeping those costs down. But yes, George, in your scenario where if there's a nightmare scenario, the companies that are down around $7,000 a coin for cost, now they have to, the other piece of that puzzle is they have to be big enough to be geared up to where they're covering all their overhead, because yeah, maybe they make a lot of money per coin, but if their total gross profit doesn't pay for their overhead, then they're still going to get run over by their liquidity and run out of money and be in trouble. So, you know, no, in the event, if we go from crypto winner into a crypto winner, then these guys are going to lose. That's just, I mean, that means, you know, that's too much.
So we lose. Do you think we lose half of the miners?
Easily.
Wow.
If we go from a crypto winter to a crypto winter, and I would define a crypto winter, if Bitcoin's at 30,000 or less at the halving, that's a full-blown crypto winter in my opinion.
Wow.
Jay is saying, and this is worth noting because I noticed I looked at as many websites as I could, and I didn't find any that have updated this yet. But just so that you know, Jay is reminding us CleanSpark is now third or fourth largest by market cap. I think this will be disclosed soon. So that, yes, the websites that track this, all the financial websites haven't updated these market caps for the number of shares, but CleanSpark issued about 25 million shares in the quarter, and then right right after the quarter ended, they issued another 15 million shares. So they added 40 million shares. So that puts them, I think, at 112 million shares in total. So their market cap, they're at like, they're well over $500 million market cap company right now. But if you look around, if I go look right now, I'll even do it this way. Right, if I search Google for CleanSpark market cap, what's the first thing it pulls up? 333 million. That's wrong. It's over 500 million. It's $4.28 times $112 million, or 112 million shares. So, and if you go down, I think you're just going to see every place still has it wrong. 328 million, 332 million. 320 million. So this will get updated. They will fix this maybe over the weekend. Maybe next week all these websites will, it's hard. They've got every company in the world, and every time somebody reports and they change their shares,
all right,
you
welcome
got
to
to
Talking
update
Investing.
this.
So make sure that you figure this out on your own. And that's where you take the price, right?
Yeah, you can literally just go. They just, between the financial statements and then the footnotes where they, showed a subsequent event of the additional shares that I did the math. I'm not sure if it's on this pad or not, but it's like 112 million shares. So, 112 million times whatever the price of the stock is, that's what their market cap is. So, and it's $500 million or more. That at the time that I did it, it was like $550 million, but the stock pulled back a little bit since then, so it's lower than that, but it's much, much more than this. This 330-ish thousand, that's going back to the 71 or 77 million shares that they held, that they reported quite some time ago. Phone book's on. Member for 8 months. 8 months, almost at the 1 year mark. Join the channel, guys. I have made 16.427 Bitcoin with my 2 Bitcoin investment. I think this is like a comment from my comments section on the channel.
Really? That's awesome.
Please contact my... Where do I get these results? How can I do this? So I try to that's right. I try to screen through. There's a lot of, but thank you, Phone Books On. The point of that was you're welcome to join the membership. It's much appreciated, and I do think that the members get a lot out of it for only $5 a month. So thank you to all the members, and welcome to anybody who's interested in joining.
Mark just said this big money could push BTC down for a while in order to bankrupt the sector, then consolidate it into just a few big players. Taco Mile failed in the Canadian cannabis companies.
Yeah, the cannabis companies have been a long, hard journey.
Which is crazy. That's crazy if you think about it.
It is crazy, but, the same thing can be said about EV companies, Tesla notwithstanding. And no, I'm not a Tesla fanboy for the millionth time. You would not believe the people who, you getting paid by Tesla. You love Tesla. It's like, I don't even think I've ever said anything nice about Tesla. So what I have pointed out, though, is that Lucid Motors is not going to survive. Okay?
It's not?
That's my strong opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I don't even think it's close. I just can't see a scenario. So, not financial advice. They're a big company. They have some big supporters, financially speaking. But I can't figure out. I've looked at that company every which way I possibly can, and I cannot figure out how they will ever make money. They don't have, and this is where people think I'm a Tesla fan. Tesla is successful. They have a gigantic market cap, but you know what they had? They had 10 years where nobody else in the world made electric vehicles. They were the only player in the game, and they had all that time and government subsidies to get to where they're going. Well, now you've got everybody
Outside.
in the space.
Love you.
So, you know, it's too late. It's too late for a new company
We
that
got 100
loses $300,000 every
Let me
single
finish. I'm
car they
almost
make
done.
to go through the learning curve on how to be profitable. So that's what I believe out of Lucid Motors. I think the same thing to a lesser extent. I don't know how Rivion's going to get where they're going. So that's my personal opinion. And if you look at the electric vehicle companies, most of their stocks are down between 90 and 99%. So the market agrees at the time being. Now, somewhere in there, are there a couple of gems that are gigantic winners? I think there might be, and I continue to look through those. But I don't know. So far, none of them have played out that way.
It's funny because when I first started trading the miners, I just thought it was just going to be gold falling from the heavens.
That's what it felt like. It absolutely did feel like that.
But it didn't happen.
Well, it's you know what somebody just talked about. There's a lot of big money out there that can push these things in a direction. You know, even though Bitcoin seems gigantic, it's what, a $500 billion market cap? Like that's that can still be pushed around. It's a quarter the size of Microsoft, to put it in perspective. So we are still at the very beginning. Stephen English.
When does it become more mature? When would you say Bitcoin becomes more mature?
I mean, it's maturing at a rapid pace. I think this last year has been a brutal but vital piece of the puzzle. I think it gets mature when we get some clear regulations from the U.S., when we get an ETF, when we get through the halving. I don't think we're that far away from, you know, the next leap in maturity. Now, that's still not anywhere near the finish line, but at some point, it's going to have enough mass that they're not going to be able to push it around, right? When this is $3 billion or $5 billion, I'm sorry, $1 trillion, you know, it's not going to be so easy to push around. In addition to the fact, by that time, the adoption that's gone on, so all these level 2 things that are going on top of the Bitcoin chain, all the transactions that go on the Lightning Network, what do you call those things? I'm blocking the word out now, but the NFT version essentially.
Oracles or?
Yeah, yes, but no, but just drop in the comments. You guys know what I'm talking about. The I word. You know, all those things are the Bitcoin network itself, right? It was well over 400 exahash the other day, right? I mean, this was at 50 exahash a couple years ago. So, you know, there's no denying that this is what's happening. Institutional money's going to, once the regulations are clear, institutional money will come into this, and I think it will be into Bitcoin first. You know, Bitcoin, then maybe Ethereum, and then, you know, I don't know what happens with the rest of everything else. I'm not saying everything else is going to go away. I do think there's potentially dozens of these cryptocurrencies that could end up winning, but I don't think there will be hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands. I think most of them are absolute garbage, in my opinion. Doesn't mean somebody didn't make a bunch of money in the middle. They're just not, you know, they don't have underlying value like, to me, like Bitcoin does. And that value continues to grow. So I think we're moving rapidly in that direction. Steven said, are you still keen on Fisker? I still think Fisker is one of the ones with the most potential. Yes. So, you know, there's a handful that I am still optimistic on, and Fisker's one of them. But Lucid and Rivian are not for me.
Well, my phone's getting ready to die.
All right. Well,
I'm going to call it, dudes.
It's about that time anyway.
And dudettes.
So let's just I haven't even been on the. So, all right, we're hanging around where we closed yesterday on Thursday. We got basically back up to that, and now we're kind of bumping into it. But so all this rigmarole, we're kind of flat in the last 24 hours. So we'll see what happens. Everybody, good luck. Have a great weekend. I will be putting out some videos over the weekend. Thank you, George, for joining us on the live stream from remote location. Thank you very much to all of the members. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy your weekends, please. And we'll see you. It sounds like we'll see you on Monday. Where's this poll at? Are we going to do this option?
9:30 Monday. How many? What did it end up?
We got 61 votes. 64% of the people said yes. I feel like this is on the borderline. I think we should put out a community post over the weekend if we're going to do a Monday morning live stream. Drop in the comments on my videos over the weekend if you're interested.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night.